The price of family. There's nothing quite like being told you're selfish while holding the bill for someone else's dream. That's how it started, with my brother, Ryan, sitting across from me in a crowded cafe scrolling through pictures of a 5-star resort in Santorini. He looked up, smiled, and said the words that would replay in my head for months. "You're doing great now, so it's only fair you pay for the wedding." I thought he was joking. I laughed. He didn't. Ryan was always the charming one. Tall, confident, full of promises, and short on delivery. Growing up, he could talk his way out of anything. Speeding tickets, bad grades, even breaking Dad's old guitar. Meanwhile, I was the responsible one. The quiet achiever who didn't cause trouble but never got much credit either. Our parents loved us both, but they loved Ryan louder. When he failed, they called it bad luck. When I succeeded, they called it expected. That kind of favoritism leaves a scar that doesn't show until much later, when one sibling decides your success belongs to them too. "Look," Ryan continued, tapping on his phone, "we've already booked the venue. It's stunning. Cliffs, sea views, white and blue, everything. Total cost is around $95,000, but don't freak out. You don't have to pay all of it. Just cover the resort and flights for close family. You make 6 figures, right?" I nearly choked on my coffee. "Wait, you're asking me to pay for your destination wedding?" He shrugged. "Come on, man. You don't even have a family to support, no kids, no mortgage. You can afford it. Think of it as a gift." Gift. That word burned. I wasn't stingy. I helped our parents when Dad's health declined, paid off part of their mortgage, and even loaned Ryan money before. Money I never saw again. But this was different. This was entitlement wearing a suit and calling itself family. I tried to stay calm. "Ryan, I'm proud of how far I've come, but that doesn't mean I owe you a $95,000 party. You can have a beautiful wedding without flying half the family across the world." He rolled his eyes. "See, this is exactly why people say money changes you. You've turned into one of those guys who counts pennies instead of memories." That line stung, because it was manipulative and he knew it. The next few weeks were tense. Texts, calls, guilt trips disguised as family discussions. Even Mom got involved. "Sweetheart," she said one night, "you know your brother isn't as stable financially. It would mean so much to him, to all of us, if you helped." I asked gently, "Did he tell you how much he's asking for?" She hesitated. "He said you'd cover the essentials. You always were the generous one." That was when I realized Ryan wasn't just asking. He was expecting. He'd already told people I'd pay. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the resort, a reservation confirmation, under my name. Non-refundable. Total, $47,800. Attached was a note from Ryan. "Just locking things in so we don't lose the date. You can wire the deposit this week, right?" I sat there staring at the screen, pulse pounding. Somewhere between disbelief and fury, a voice inside me whispered, "He thinks your success is his safety net." And that's when something shifted. The old me, the one who stayed quiet to keep the peace, was gone. This time, I wasn't just going to say no. I was going to make him understand. That night, I opened my laptop, not to transfer money, but to dig. I pulled up his business records, public filings, even credit data I had access to through a finance tool I used at work, and what I found made my jaw drop. Late payments, maxed out cards, a credit score so low it wouldn't qualify for a used bike, let alone a Santorini wedding. Ryan wasn't building a life. He was performing one. And I suddenly realized the whole wedding wasn't about love or family. It was about status. And he wanted me to pay for his illusion. Entitlement in a tuxedo. The funny thing about family guilt is how easily it hides behind love. A week after the invoice incident, Mom called again, this time with her soft voice, the one she used when she wanted something but didn't want to sound like it. "Honey, Ryan's really stressed about the wedding. You know he's under pressure. His fiancé's family is..." Well, they're expecting something big. Maybe you could loan him the money and sort it out later? I stared at the phone in silence, the word loan echoing like a joke I'd heard too many times before. Mom, I said slowly, do you remember the last loan I gave him? A pause. That was different. He was younger. He was 28. Still, you're the older brother. You've always looked out for him. I sighed. And who looks out for me, Mom? That silence told me everything. A few nights later, I got a group text. Ryan had added me, our parents, and his fiancée Elena to a chat titled Santorini Dream Team. The first message? Hey everyone, venue confirmed, flights blocked. Can't wait. Big thanks to my brother for taking care of the logistics. Couldn't do this without you? I froze. He didn't ask if I'd agreed. He announced it. Within minutes, messages poured in. Dad sent a thumbs up. Elena replied with heart emojis. Mom said, "You're such a blessing to this family, sweetheart." And just like that, I was trapped inside Ryan's performance, a smiling prop in his show of success. I wanted to explode, to tell them the truth, to scream that I hadn't agreed to anything. But something in me, pride maybe, held back. If I was going to deal with this, I wasn't going to do it emotionally. I was going to do it strategically. I began to play along, not with money, but with patience. I let him believe I was still considering it, even replying to messages like, "I'll review everything soon and let's make sure the finances are handled properly." Ryan took that as a yes. Of course he did. He'd spent a lifetime mistaking silence for consent. Meanwhile, I started learning more about Elena, not by gossip, but by observation. She was kind enough, but she had a taste for luxury she couldn't afford. Every Instagram post was a highlight reel of designer bags, champagne brunches, and motivational quotes about manifesting abundance. She reminded me of Ryan, both of them chasing appearances harder than substance. One night, while scrolling through her stories, I saw a post that made me stop cold. It was a picture of a credit card decline screen with a caption, "When you're saving every penny for your dream wedding?" Except the card? It was Ryan's. I recognized the last 4 digits. That's when I realized something deeper. The whole destination wedding wasn't just a flex, it was a cover. Ryan wasn't trying to celebrate success. He was trying to fake it. The next weekend, I drove to our parents' house. I hadn't been home in months. The moment I walked in, I could feel the tension hanging in the air like humidity. Ryan was already there, smiling too wide, voice too smooth. He hugged me like nothing had happened. "Bro, finally. We were just talking about you. Sit, man. Let's go over the wedding plans together." I sat across from him. He had spreadsheets printed out, color-coded charts, and a new Apple laptop he'd probably bought on credit. He looked every bit the confident groom-to-be, but I saw it now, the cracks beneath the performance. "So," he began, "I've done some adjustments to the budget. You'd only need to handle the main deposit and maybe a few of the flight bookings. Elena's parents will take care of the rehearsal dinner and floral setup. Fair?" I raised an eyebrow. "Fair? Based on what math?" He laughed. "Based on income. You make what, double me?" "Triple, actually," I said flatly. That wiped the grin off his face for a second. "Right, so it makes sense, yeah?" "You help more. We all enjoy the wedding without stress." "Ryan," I said slowly, "your debt collectors probably enjoy more of your money than you do. Don't talk to me about fair." His jaw tightened. "What's that supposed to mean?" I leaned back, calm but cold. "It means I know you're drowning. Your business loan, the cards, the car lease. I've seen the records." The room went silent. Mom looked confused. Dad frowned. Ryan's eyes flickered with rage. "You had no right to look into that," he snapped. "I had every right to protect myself from being dragged into your financial mess," I said. "You want me to fund a fantasy while you can't even pay your utilities." He stood up. "You think you're better than me now, huh? Just because you make a little money?" "No," I said, standing too. "I think I'm responsible. There's a difference." That night ended in shouting. Dad telling us to calm down, Mom crying, Ryan storming out. But for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Free from the cycle of bailing him out, free from pretending his bad decisions were my responsibility. But I also knew this wasn't over. Because people like Ryan don't accept no. They turn it into a challenge. And I could see it in his eyes before he left that night. He wasn't going to stop. He was going to force me into paying, one way or another. The wedding ultimatum. 3 weeks after that confrontation, I thought maybe Ryan had dropped it. He hadn't called, texted, or posted anything dramatic. For a brief, naive moment, I believed peace had returned. Then, on a random Wednesday morning, I woke up to 57 notifications. I opened my phone to find my brother's latest Instagram post, a cinematic slideshow of him and Elena on a Greek beach, champagne in hand, drone shots of cliffs and waves. The caption read, "Can't believe this dream is happening. Big thanks to my amazing brother for making it possible. Santorini, here we come." He had tagged me. And just like that, my phone exploded. Messages from friends, coworkers. Even my boss texted, "Didn't know you were sponsoring a wedding. Generous guy?" It felt like a slap. Not because of embarrassment, but because of the audacity. Ryan had weaponized public pressure. He knew exactly what he was doing. I called him immediately. He answered on speaker, voice syrupy sweet. "Hey bro, did you see the post? It's blowing up. We're trending locally." "Ryan, take it down," I said, voice low and steady. "Why? It's good PR for you too. People love a successful family story." "You lied, again." "Relax," he said. "It's not lying, it's pre-celebration. Everyone knows you've got this." "Got what, Ryan? Paying for your fantasy?" He laughed. "You're overreacting. Everyone already assumes you're helping out. Don't make it weird." That was the moment I realized how far gone he was. Ryan didn't see manipulation as cruelty. To him, it was strategy. Later that week, the family group chat was buzzing again. Mom sent emojis of wedding rings and hearts. Dad sent a link to how to pack for Greece. And then came the message that felt like a trap disguised as tradition. "Family meeting, Sunday dinner at our place. Let's finalize details for the big event." I knew exactly what finalize meant. They were going to corner me. Sunday came like a storm. I showed up at 6 p.m. sharp, dressed in quiet armor. Neutral clothes, calm voice, no emotion. The dining table was set, candles lit, and the air smelled of rosemary and tension. Ryan and Elena sat side by side, both smiling like hosts of a reality show. My parents sat across from them, expectant like referees pretending to be neutral. Ryan began with fake humility. "So, before we eat, I just want to thank everyone for supporting us. It's been a crazy year, and we're so grateful for my brother especially. He's stepping up in such a huge way." Mom beamed. Dad nodded. All eyes turned to me. "Actually," I said evenly, "I'm not paying for the wedding." The silence was instant, the kind that sucks all air out of a room. Ryan blinked, forced a laugh. "Come on, man, don't joke like that." "I'm not joking." Elena frowned. "Wait, what? Ryan said you already agreed." "I didn't, and I'm not going to." Ryan's smile evaporated. "You're really going to humiliate me like this? In front of everyone?" "No," I said. "You did that yourself when you posted lies online." Mom tried to intervene, her voice trembling. "Honey, please, this isn't the time." "It's exactly the time," I said, "because you all need to hear this. I'm done being the family wallet. I love you, but I'm not financing anyone's vanity project." Ryan slammed his fork down. "You think you're some kind of hero because you got lucky at work? You think your money makes you better than us?" "No," I said quietly, "but it gives me choices, and I choose boundaries." He stood up, fists clenched, veins visible. "You're unbelievable. You've changed. You used to have a heart." "No," I said. "I used to have no spine." That line landed like thunder. Even Dad looked up from his plate. For a long moment, nobody said a word. Then Elena spoke, voice sharp. "Do you realize how this makes us look? The wedding is in 3 months. People can expect reality," I said. "If you can't afford a destination wedding, then have one you can afford. There's no shame in that. The shame is in pretending." Ryan's face turned red. "You're dead to me." "If that's what it takes to be free," I said, "then fine." I walked out before anyone could respond. My hands were shaking, but not from anger, from release. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small or guilty. I felt like I had reclaimed something I'd lost long ago, my dignity. Driving home that night, my phone buzzed with messages, half furious, half pleading. Mom begged me to reconsider. Ryan sent one final text. "If you won't pay for family, don't expect family when you need it." I read it twice, then deleted it. Because what he didn't understand was this. Real family doesn't come with invoices. Still, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that Ryan wasn't done. He had too much pride, too much desperation. And men like that, when cornered, always make one last move. I just didn't know yet that his would backfire in spectacular fashion. The truth in numbers 3. Days after that dinner, I thought it was over. Ryan would lick his wounds, throw a smaller wedding, maybe even realize he'd pushed too far. But I should have known better. My brother never lost gracefully. He didn't step down, he schemed. The first sign came from an unexpected place, HR. I was in the middle of a meeting when I got a message from our finance director. "Hey, just checking. Did you recently authorize a background verification for a joint credit application? Your name came up in an alert." My stomach dropped. A joint credit application? I hadn't applied for anything. I hadn't co-signed anything. Within minutes, I was on the phone with my bank. They confirmed what I already feared. Someone had attempted to use my information, my full name, address, and partial SSN, to apply for a $45,000 wedding loan. The applicant, Ryan Miller. I remember sitting there, phone pressed to my ear, blood roaring in my temples. Not shock confirmation. He had finally crossed the line from manipulation to fraud. That evening, I drove straight to our parents' house. Ryan's car was already in the driveway. The moment I stepped in, I saw him on the couch, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. "We need to talk," I said. He looked up, half annoyed, half bored. "If this is about the wedding again, it's about the loan you tried to take in my name." That got his attention. His head snapped up. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb, Ryan," the bank called. "They caught the application. You used my data." He went pale for half a second, just long enough to confirm it. Then the arrogance returned. "I was going to tell you," he said too quickly. "It was just to secure the reservation until I paid it back." "You mean until I paid it back?" "You wouldn't even notice that kind of money missing." I laughed bitterly. "You actually believe that makes it better?" He stood, his voice rising. "You have everything. The job, the car, the house. You don't know what it's like to struggle." "Struggle?" I said quietly. "Ryan, I worked 2 jobs through college. You quit yours because you didn't like your boss's tone." "Don't talk to me about struggle." His jaw tightened. "I deserve a break, too." "Then earn one," I said. "Not by stealing from the one person who's helped you more times than you deserved." Dad appeared in the doorway, alarmed. "What's going on here?" Before I could answer, Ryan jumped in. "He's accusing me of fraud now because I asked for help." "Help?" I said sharply. "You tried to forge my application." Mom's face drained of color. "Ryan, tell me that's not true." Ryan's mouth opened, then closed. The silence said enough. That night was chaos. Dad yelled. Mom cried. Ryan stormed out. I sat at the kitchen table long after everyone else had gone to bed, staring at the pattern in the wood, my mind a storm of disappointment and sadness. I didn't want revenge. Not really. I wanted accountability. So the next morning, I made a decision. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. I contacted my company's legal advisor and filed a formal fraud report with documentation. No arrest, no drama, just facts. The report triggered a financial review, which flagged Ryan's existing credit issues. Within a week, his credit score dropped below 500. Loan requests declined, credit cards frozen, luxury wedding plans dead. A week later, he called me, voice trembling, no arrogance left. They froze my accounts. Elena's furious. What did you do? I told the truth, I said. You ruined me. No, I replied softly. You did that yourself. I just stopped covering it up. For the first time, he didn't have a comeback, just silence. And in that silence, I heard something I hadn't heard in years, humility. A month passed. The wedding was officially canceled. Elena broke things off. Mom tried to mediate, saying things like, he's learned his lesson, but I stayed firm. Forgiveness didn't mean access. Then one afternoon, Ryan showed up at my apartment. He looked small. His suit didn't fit. His eyes were sunken. He carried a thin envelope. This is my financial statement, he said quietly. You were right. I've been lying for years. I thought if I looked successful, maybe I'd become it. That's not how success works, I said. He nodded. I know that now. He looked down. I'm sorry. For a long time, I said nothing. Then I gestured to the chair across from me. Sit. Let's figure out how you can fix this. He blinked. You'd help me? After everything? Help you rebuild, I said. Not pretend. And for the first time since childhood, my brother smiled without ego. It was tired, genuine, human. Later that night, after he left, I opened my laptop. There, glowing on the screen, was an unread email. Executive offer, annual compensation $850,000. A job I'd interviewed for months ago had finally come through. The irony made me laugh. Ryan had called me selfish for not paying for his wedding, but life had its own timing. Justice often comes quietly through patience, not revenge. And I finally understood the lesson I'd been running from all along. When you stop carrying those who refuse to walk, your own steps become lighter. The bill comes due time softens everything, even anger. Months passed after that night. Ryan and I didn't talk much, but the silence wasn't bitter anymore. It was healing, like a wound finally allowed to breathe. He had moved back in with our parents, picked up shifts at a local hardware store, and started selling off what little luxury he had left. For the first time in years, he was working, not performing. And strangely, I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired and maybe a little sad that it took a complete collapse for him to find honesty. One chilly October morning, Mom called. Her voice carried that familiar mix of guilt and concern. Your brother wants to see you, she said. He's different now. I think you'll be proud. I hesitated. I had spent years being manipulated through those same words. He's different now. But something in her tone this time felt real, so I agreed. We met at a small diner near our old high school. When I walked in, I barely recognized him. Ryan looked smaller, humbler. No watch, no designer jacket. Just a simple sweater and a cup of black coffee he was nursing like it cost gold. He smiled, genuinely, nervously. Hey. For a minute, neither of us knew how to start. Then he reached into his bag and pulled out a folded paper. This is for you. It was a handwritten note. No texts, no typed words, just pen and ink. He cleared his throat. It's a repayment plan for everything I owe you. I know it'll take years, but I'll do it. I've been budgeting. Got a side gig fixing computers. I didn't interrupt him. He was shaking slightly. Not from fear, but from vulnerability. He wasn't asking this time. He was owning. When he finished, I folded the paper and set it on the table. Ryan, you don't owe me money anymore. His head snapped up. What? You know, I can't just... You owe me accountability. And you're finally giving me that. That's enough. His eyes glistened. He looked down, nodding slowly. I don't deserve that. Maybe not, I said softly, but that's what second chances are for. We talked for hours after that, about everything we'd never said when we were younger. The pressure to succeed, the competition our parents unknowingly fueled, the unspoken resentment between us. He admitted that seeing me rise in my career made him feel invisible. He wanted to prove he wasn't the lesser son. And somewhere in that desperate need for validation, he'd started confusing image with worth. I told him I understood, because I'd spent years doing the same, just in the opposite direction. While he chased admiration, I chased perfection. Both of us were trying to earn love that had been conditional for too long. By the time we left the diner, it felt like a page had turned. Not fully clean, but finally honest. A few weeks later, I flew out for my new job, the one that came with the $850,000 offer letter. Before boarding, I texted Ryan a picture of the city skyline with a message. "I'm proud of you. Keep rebuilding." He replied, "Thanks, bro, for everything. This time, I'll earn it myself." And for the first time, I believed him. 6 months later, I came home for Thanksgiving. The same dinner table that had once hosted accusations and guilt now held laughter and warmth. Mom had cooked too much, Dad was complaining about the football game, and Ryan, he was setting the table quietly, humming to himself. He caught my eye and smiled. "No destination weddings this year, promise." I laughed. "Good. I left my checkbook at home anyway." Everyone chuckled. The air felt lighter than it had in years. After dinner, as we stood outside looking at the cold stars, Ryan said something that stayed with me forever. "You know, I used to think money was the ticket out of shame. Turns out, owning your mistakes is." I nodded. "It's the one thing debt collectors can't take." He smiled, small but real. "Thanks for letting me fail, man. It saved me." That's when I realized sometimes love isn't rescuing someone. It's stepping back long enough for them to learn to swim. In the end, there was no dramatic revenge, no viral downfall. Just two brothers learning, finally, that success measured in dollars is hollow if it isn't backed by decency. Ryan's credit score eventually recovered. Mine? It never mattered. Because life isn't about the numbers on a report or a paycheck. It's about the kind of person you are when those numbers disappear. And for me, that's when I finally felt rich.